was actually saved as a kid.
Yeah.
I was in the Episcopal Church. I served the church all the way up until 2002. And then I graduated high school and went into the military. And I guess I got out into the world a little bit and found the drink, and that kind of became my God for a while. That was my higher power for a long time. And I got kind of lost in that for about 17 years. And so in 2020, Christmas of 2019, I had a little bit of a bender and did an overnight in jail, in county jail there in Harnett County. And when I got out the next day, I called my mom. I said, "Hey, I think I have a problem." And she said, "Yeah, I think you do too." And what I meant was I didn't have any money or anything. What she meant was you have a drinking problem. She said, "You need to go find AA." And so I went and found AA, and turns out that my sponsor, I found a sponsor needed a ride to church. And he says to me, "Can I have a ride to church?" He wasn't really inviting me to church, or I didn't know it at the time, but he was inviting me to church. He said, "Can I have a ride to church?" I said, "Yeah, I'll give you a ride to church." And I met a small group of the guys there. And one of the guys said, "You're welcome to come in and come to church with us." And I said, "Let me work on my relationship with God a little bit before I go back into a church." Which is kind of like,
Right, yeah.
it's kind of like saying, let me get sober before I go to AA.
Yeah.
Because where do you work on your relationship with God besides in his house?
Let me get clean before I take it down.
Exactly, yeah. And you'll probably believe it, but the lesson in church that day was about how to work on your relationship with God, and I feel like the pastor was talking right to me.
Right.
Even though I was hiding in the balcony, he was looking right at me the whole time. 2016, I started my recovery and had recently relapsed right before I came to the Red Truckman group. But I had started dating my now wife and was kind of looking for advice on how to be a better male figure in life, We kind of hadn't started talking about getting married or anything yet, but I met Mr. Cedric there, who's been a big influence in my life since I started coming to these breakfasts. And I was struggling a little bit in that relationship. And he said to me, we kind of had a long conversation, and he said to me, "Let me ask you this." He said, "What wouldn't you do for her? What wouldn't you give up for her?" We were talking about the recent relapse. What wouldn't you give up for her? I said, I don't think there's anything. I think I would do anything for her. And so coming up in December, I'll have 2 years completely sober. Thanks a lot to that conversation and subsequent breakfasts that I've had here and meeting these guys. We say iron sharpens iron. And so talking to a lot of these guys and learning from them, I've kind of gained a better understanding of what the role of the man is in these relationships with different kinds of people. Your parents and your significant other, your children.